Hello and welcome to my channel. I will be a link to the crypto world of assets and crypto news. I am CryptoLink and boy oh boy I got some news for you today. Alright, let's refresh CoinMarketCap. Alright, Bitcoin a bit below $9,500. 3% gain in the last 24 hours. Tether is still ahead from the XRP fourth position, but they're neck to neck. It will be photo finish today. And alright, let's go straight to the news. I got prepared 2 videos for you today from XRP Yo-Yo. Be sure to follow him on Twitter. He provides some awesome content. Alright, so let's head into the video. Oops.
Ledger and streaming payments. So I'm the co-inventor of Interledger. I've been working on it full-time for the past 3 years. So the problem that we want to solve is today, if you tried to go and actually use cryptocurrency for anything, you would have a situation like this. You walk into a grocery store, you say, hey, do you accept Ether? And they would say, what is that? No, sorry. And the fundamental problem is that all of these different payment networks are...
All right, just 1 second. So to explain it, this is our situation today. We have banks, we have blockchains, we have mobile money, we have online wallets, and everything is disconnected from each other. So you can't go and go to bank and deposit or withdraw Bitcoin. So it's similar with all these things. It's very disconnected from each other.
Are disconnected. You can't use any type of cryptocurrency today for payments because you need the other person to actually accept that cryptocurrency. Blockchains don't solve the interoperability.
And this is all different blockchains. Like this is Bitcoin blockchain, this is Ethereum blockchain, this is Ripple blockchain, this is some Ford blockchain.
Problem by themselves. Blockchains are individual networks that have the same problems as traditional ones where they're all disconnected. What we need...
And you see these lines that connects all of this? Actually, this is interledger, these lines that connects everything together. That is like a system that's go beneath everything. That's all data is input on there. You see two blocks, and blue, every blue is Ripple, actually interledger. So interledger is network of all blockchain networks that connects all these together. So to put it simple, interledger is a protocol that writes down all the transactions between different blockchains and apps and online wallets, banks, everything together. So
there's a system.
Even the blockchains that are different, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, everything like that, puts them all into one network that connects all networks. So I hope that explains something, and let's proceed with the video.
For internetworking payment networks. And so this term internetworking comes from the internet. That's what it's named after. And at its core, the internet is all about routing little packets of data across independent networks. So what we need is a system for routing packets of money across independent payment networks. So what that would enable is me to pay you even if I have some kind of super obscure cryptocurrency and you just want dollars or whatever you want. So what Interledger does is it routes packets of money very similarly to how the internet routes packets of data. I won't get into too much of how that works, but I want to walk through some of the cool things that this lets you do. So when we're applying this analogy with the internet, one of the things we get to is this idea of streaming payments. So if you broke up payments into little tiny chunks and could route these packets super efficiently, what you could end up with is this idea of streaming payments. So one of the things that could look like is, oh, you need to send a bigger payment? Okay, it depends on your payment bandwidth, which is a weird concept that we work with a lot, where that would be measured in dollars per second that you can send, or whatever currency you have. Some of the cool use cases that come out of this, things like streaming media. So today payments are super inefficient and clunky, and so we prefer things like monthly subscriptions. I pay my $10 a month because I don't want to be bothered by this.
Alright, let's go straight to the video. Excuse me, part 2.
If you made the payments super efficient and could do it on a very small basis, you could do things like paying for a second of video. So you're streaming me video, I'm streaming you money, and if I pause the video, I stop paying for it. If I walk away, I stop. If I come back and hit play again, keep streaming money, because it would be that efficient. Another cool thing that comes out of this is the idea of sign-up list services. Today in the physical world, when you walk into a shop and you want to have some financial exchange, the exchange normally goes, I give you money, you give me good or service, and I walk out. I don't need an account, I don't need to sign up, things like that. Today on the internet, you always need to sign up for accounts because there's no way to do this very seamless. Here's a little bit of money, you give me a little bit of service, rinse and repeat. As a business, if you're giving me hosting services or something like that, you don't need to know who I am, you just need the money. And so with something like Interledger, you'd enable anybody to land money in your account, even if they're on some completely different payment network. So that would enable sign-up list services. Another neat idea we've been playing with is the idea of a creative marketplace license. So the idea here is, today we have Creative Commons license, which is awesome. If you want to give away your work, it's a really, really great project. One of the issues with Creative Commons is there's no way to have a license that's as easy to use where you can actually monetize your work. So the idea here is with something like Interledger, you could actually have a license that says anybody can use this content, feel free to, but for every download or view or whatever kind of interaction you want to monetize, just pay me at this address. And the thing that's really missing today in order to do this is the assumption that just anybody could pay you. Because there's no interoperability and because we don't have internetworking for payments, if you did this kind of license, you'd be like, okay, anybody that has Bitcoin can now pay me, which is a tiny subset of everybody. The thing that makes the internet work is that everybody can access it, quality. Last kind of fun thing to throw out there is if you connect every type of currency and payment network together, what you can enable is payments from...
All right. Okay, so this is how Interledger works and what is their like goal, what to solve. For the next news, the world needs a new kind of currency, says Shanghai Gold Exchange president. So, Shanghai Gold Exchange president Wang Zhenying has called out for a new super sovereign currency system, citing not only currency debasement worries but also fear of the use of the US dollar as a geopolitical tool. Future global trade needs a super sovereign currency system under which no single country has the power to freeze the international assets of another country. So he is saying that we need all the same currency that doesn't change if anything happens in the world. It's same value all the time, every time. If you understand what I mean. So it doesn't change the value. It's fixed. Price is fixed. It can impact on anyone. Long term, Wang forces the US dollar losing the purchasing power after the Federal Reserve has cut rates to zero and embarked on unlimited policy easing to help the US deal with the current situation. When the Feds turn on the liquidity tap, the US dollar will in theory have a long-term depreciatory trend. At the same time, the head of the world's largest physical spot gold exchange did admit that in the short term, the US dollar will make gains as the people rush to cash amid the crisis. Another problem with the US dollar, aside from the currency debasement, is the power it gives to the US. Wang pointed out, citing the American use of the sanctions against other countries. It is a weapon for the US, but a source of insecurity for other countries. The currency the world ultimately chooses for global trade must not be one that gives someone privileges while exposing others to insecurities. The idea of super sovereign currency system, I would call it XRP, is an old one. Wang added, gold could potentially fit into the category, but its finite quality limits its role when it comes to global trade. So I think, in my personal opinion, two stuff we can't go back to gold standard, because one is how will uh, two countries trade, actually pay one another for goods and services in gold. So imagine one Apple needs to pay to China because their factories are there, so they need to send like $1 billion, for example. That is like 1,000 kilos of gold. So how will they send that gold? Who will secure it, save it, and guard it until it gets there? So it's very complicated. Another thing is they don't have like barcodes on the gold. It's hard to track it like currency and digital currency. So Wang did not clarify how the new currency would look like. I would say XRP, but or be used during the interview, but did indicate that it will be used in a post-pandemic world and distribute politically power equality. So that's from the president of Shanghai Gold Exchange. And news from today: Ripple goes cloud. New solution will significantly increase efficiency. Ripple has released a cloud solution for the RippleNet that will significantly accelerate integration at financial institutions. The RippleNet cloud will make it easier for banks to add on-demand liquidity to their accounts. To facilitate and accelerate the integration and maintenance of the RippleNet for banks and the financial institution, Ripple has developed a cloud solution. The solution was announced by Ripple in a blog post published yesterday. As Ripple describes, the world's leading banks are still lagging behind when it comes to adapting cloud technology, although the benefiting of it are obvious. Cloud solution offer the ability to rapidly roll out and scale to meet increased consumers' demand in real time. In addition, cloud solution offers considerable saving potential in on-site infrastructure, as well as in the cost of personnel, hardware, and maintenance. As a result, Ripple decides to develop RippleNet Cloud, which enables banks and financial institutions to maximize their businesses benefits with minimal efforts and greater flexibility. The RippleNet Cloud enables customers to send and receive payments with a single integration and common Ripple payment object, RPO. That means that RippleNet customers can integrate the technology with less friction and more standardization, allowing it to scale better. The RippleNet Cloud will also make it easier for financial institutions to add alternative settlements through on-demand liquidity. With maintenance through the single API, new connections in the RippleNet will be easier to maintain and establish. In addition, the cost of deployment and management will be lower than on-premise solution, because the Ripple operations team take care of infrastructure maintenance and upgrades. Last but not least, RippleNet Cloud will save financial institutions hardware and staffing costs, as RippleNet Cloud will use Ripple's operation and technical services teams for 24/7 monitoring and support, while banks and the financial institutions maximize the benefit of their businesses with RippleNet Cloud. Customers also receive seamless and standardized remittance services. Unfortunately, today, global payments infrastructure has more in common with the outdated postal systems that with the generation need for speed. RippleNet's cloud solution provides banks and financial institutions with a new platform to meet these demands. Okay, Ripple XRP inflation is 5 times higher than the Bitcoin. Alright, so from this article, Messari analyst Florent Molin has shared new data regarding the inflation rate of the top 10 cryptocurrencies. According to the data analyzed by Molin, the XRP token has the highest inflation rate in the ranking with a period of 12 months. Via his Twitter account, Molin stated that XRP inflation rate is above 20% within the last year, With this, XRP has inflation rate that is 5 times higher than Bitcoin inflation rate after the halving. As can be seen in the graph below, the supply of the XRP has increased almost exponentially over the last 12 months. In contrast, the inflation rate of Ethereum is 4.7%. The inflation rate of Litecoin was at 5.1%, for the Tezos 13%, for EOS and Tron at 3%, and for the Bitcoin before the halving at 6%. We can see the graph here. We can see the graph. This is the You can see Bitcoin is white, XRP is green, Ethereum is purple, and Litecoin is orange. So we can see what happens with the XRP, and like this demand happened, the price will happen. So believe in XRP. Only 30% of XRP max supply has been distributed, against 87.5 for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is up 20% since last year. XRP is down 47%. So last year was around 40 cents, now it's 20. The company has been steadily increased their sales of XRP over the previous 3 quarters, likely inflicting downward price pressuring on XRP. Investors have known this for some time. However, for whatever reason, the market is just now picking up the narrative and reacting. However, Ripple has published several reports on how slightly the planned sales affect the markets. Ripple has concluded that their shares of the newly issued XRP is too small in relation to the total supply to affect the price of XRP. In this regard, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse said, "In the XRP community, Ripple is the largest owner, and we are the most interested party in the success of the XRP ecosystem. Ripple can't control the price of XRP any more than a whale controls the price of Bitcoin." So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon. Have a best day. Bye bye.